Our journey on the Mukuba Express takes us across one of the most beautiful natural landscapes in Tanzania. Abandoned by the Germans, an old steam train at the entrance of the Selous Game Reserve is a reminder of East Africa's colonial days. Small aircraft are the most practical mode of transport in this legendary but remote game reserve. After a short stop, the plane returns in order to bring more visitors to the Selous Game Reserve. The Rufiji River not only influences the landscape of Selous, but it's also the main lifeline of this unique and natural environment. Selous is Africa's oldest and also its largest game reserve. It's the habitat of many rare animals. More than 400 bird species are to be found here, and it also contains some fascinating flora. Tall borassus palm trees are one of the natural landmarks of the Rufiji River. But this peaceful and idyllic first impression of the river can be deceptive. This baboon appears to be oblivious to the dangers that lurk within the water. The mainly forested regions along the Rufiji also attract a large number of lions. The safari travelers are safe while inside their jeeps, so they're able to approach these majestic predators that are relaxing in the shade. Next, we encounter further striking inhabitants of the Selous Game Reserve. Giraffes and antelopes are perfectly at home here. The vast array of impressions and insights into the natural circle of life here and its remarkable ecology are truly fascinating. And there's an abundance of food that satisfies the requirements of all the creatures that live here. Due to its remote location, the reserve is like a secret paradise. Despite its beautiful landscape, for many years the Selous area was unsuitable for human habitation. The infertile land and scant rainfall meant that agriculture was almost impossible. As with most of the camps in this region, the Impala camp is located close to the river. A number of trophies mark previous successful hunting safaris. The 6 well-equipped tents of Impala Camp make the stay here a special adventure. The exclusive and partly nostalgic furnishings of the camp are evocative of German colonial times. From the veranda, there's a splendid view of the surroundings, an opportunity to relax. However, we don't have long to relax as the next boat trip on the Rufiji River awaits us at the jetty. The boat provides a good view of the waterfowl, but the river also attracts some of the larger inhabitants of Selous. The African elephant requires huge quantities of water. Its thirst drives the impressive pachyderm to the banks of the Rufiji. An adult elephant requires between 100 and 150 litres of water each day. Particularly during the dry season, the river is extremely important for the survival of many creatures. We reach the next landing stage and continue our safari on land. After a short time, we come across some of the most famous members of Africa's animal kingdom. But not all the sections of the 52,000 square kilometre Selous Game Reserve are open to the public. In addition to the wildlife, the flora here is also something to behold. And this 1,000-year-old baobab tree is an amazing sight. A lion has found some shade beneath a tree and spends some time taking it easy. After this short excursion on land, we continue our journey by boat and pass by a natural dugout that belongs to the local natives. Despite the harsh living conditions here, in recent years a number of families have settled on the banks of the Rufiji. For those who appreciate wildlife, Selous is a veritable paradise, with amazing exotic birds such as the African hornbill. This is the final resting place of the namesake of this game reserve, Frederick Selous, who was a famous and well-liked hunter. Most visitors who leave this vast and beautiful game reserve with its truly staggering variety of plant and wildlife do so with a feeling of regret. Early the next morning, we make for the train station. There's no precise timetable for the train that will arrive here from Zambia. It could arrive at virtually any moment. The train stops here only twice a week. There's plenty of time for passengers to enjoy a good breakfast. More and more people, most of them locals, gather at the station. Even today, the arrival of a train is still a special event. Everything about this small station in the north of the Selous Game Reserve is full of nostalgia. most of the railroad is made up of a single track. Only a few stations have sidings to take the carriages of the Mukuba Express. As the ticket offices gradually open for business, more people arrive. The railway is a vital mode of transport in this region. Although the purchase of a ticket guarantees a place on the train, passengers continue to wait for its uncertain arrival. Here, there's no such thing as time. Then finally, the long wait is over and the legendary Mukuba Express announces its arrival. With a loud creaking sound, the train comes to a halt. Now the crowds of people that have been waiting patiently begin to move. Numerous tradesmen sell food to the passengers. For the local people, the train is not only an important means of transport. The sale of goods to its passengers is the only source of income for many of them. After a long stop, the train continues towards Dar-Es-Salaam, which will mark the end of this journey on the Mukuba Express. The railway line travels across the most captivating natural landscapes of the Selous Game Reserve. Despite the railroad and its safari travellers, this part of Selous has retained its original and unspoiled splendour right up to the present day. Every now and then we travel past the isolated dwellings of the local line keepers. Otherwise, the landscape has no other signs of human habitation. The journey on the Mukuba Express is one of the most relaxing and impressive ways to observe the landscape. For several hours, we travel through untouched nature. Around a quarter of this huge reserve is covered by savanna. During the dry season, most of the indigenous animals of Selous live close to the Rufiji River. But with or without East Africa's wildlife, the journey on the Central Railway is a very special experience. Small station, the train enters a siding, and a train that is travelling to Zambia passes by. As is common in this remote area, the station is surrounded by a number of huts. They form a kind of small village. After a short break, we continue our journey. This historic railroad is the backbone of central Tanzania. Soon the train of the Central Railway arrives at Mzenga station. It's crowded with tradesmen who are selling all manner of goods. We have only a short time to enjoy the colourful scene. Our train moves on towards Dar-Es-Salaam. Over the years, many of the old train stations have been abandoned. Now they look like sad relics of a bygone age. The historic origins of this extraordinary railroad date back to German colonial times at the beginning of the 20th century. What was once known as the Middle Land Railroad was one of the most technically challenging and expensive projects of East Africa's German colonists. Today, the 1,254-kilometre Middle Land Railroad is an important reminder of those bygone days. In the late afternoon, the train reaches its destination, and this unforgettable train journey comes to an end. The new train station is situated a little beyond Dar-Es-Salaam city centre. Here there's hustle and bustle both day and night. Since the 1970s, the Tazara train station has replaced that of colonial times. Dar-Es-Salaam, Harbour of Peace. The name of this East African metropolis highlights the special significance of the harbour for the city's 3.5 million inhabitants. In 1856, this was just a tiny fishing village, but with the arrival of the German colonists at the end of the 19th century, everything changed. With the decision of the colonial rulers to move their capital from Bagamoyo to Dar-Es-Salaam, the city began to grow at a rapid pace. Several old facades indicate the former splendour of this historic epoch. The impressive Catholic St. Joseph's Cathedral was consecrated in 1905 and now shines out in all its glory. Restoration work has removed the ravages of time from this neo-Gothic building. In the heart of the city, St. Joseph's Cathedral is well worth a visit. Only a few steps from the cathedral is the ferry port. From here, ferries embark for the legendary spice and pirate island of Zanzibar. Dar-es-Salaam's Lutheran church was built almost at the same time as the nearby cathedral. Its massive, fortress-like architecture is truly striking. interior of the church is always busy, and the church services are highly atmospheric. After a construction time of only 3 years, the Lutheran church was completed in 1902. Thus, it was completed earlier than St. Joseph's Cathedral. With their lively songs and dances, the church services here are more like a religious festival than a contemplative occasion. Though there are several Christian buildings here, the city is a colourful mosaic of many different religious beliefs. As a centre of religion, Dar-Es-Salaam is a cosmopolitan metropolis. The ravages of the First World War also influenced this part of Africa. More than 100,000 African soldiers died in battle. The Askari monument in the centre of the city dates back to 1927 and commemorates that tragic time. Along the Kivu-Koni front are some of the most beautiful architectural examples of Dar-es-Salaam's early colonial times. The fish market is situated at the end of the bay and is a delight. Fishmongers ply their trade with a good degree of pride. Early in the morning from 6 o'clock, the local fishermen erect their stalls. The fish market is a vibrant place. Although it is mainly fish that is featured here, clothing and various other goods are also on display. It's a colourful sight. For those interested in history, the National Museum can provide a good insight into East Africa's dramatic past. Exhibits that feature the development of mankind, as well as various precious fossils from the Oldupai Canyon, are among the main highlights of the museum. Since its inauguration in 1940, the museum's exhibits have grown and grown. They now provide a remarkable picture of this country's history. In addition to archaeological finds and illustrations of East Africa's various historical epochs, a section of the museum is also dedicated to the history of Dar-es-Salaam's former city fathers. In the direct vicinity of the museum is the old German hospital, a popular attraction. The fortress-like building has only recently been lovingly restored and leaves a deep impression on all those who see it. It features the architecture of German colonial times. Our marvelous journey on the Mukuba Express across the unspoiled landscape of Tanzania comes to a wonderful conclusion at the Indian Ocean. The numerous recollections of this unique train journey will remain in the minds of all those who've experienced it forever.